Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are always happy to have in the house with us our friends from the Emilio Nares Foundation. Elsa Morales-Roth is the executive director. How you doing, Elsa?
Hi, Drew. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Always good to see you in here and talk about the very great things this foundation has been doing now for 21 years. I can't believe it. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc., now enjoying their 20th anniversary. A lot of cool things going on in Liberty Station. And how you doing there, Kristen?
I'm doing great.
Why don't you get started with questions for Elsa?
I would be happy to. So why don't we just start with the mission of the organization?
So the Emilio Nares Foundation was created 21 years ago by Richard and Diane Nares. They were trying to honor Emilio Nares, their son. So unfortunately, when he was 3 years old, he was diagnosed with leukemia. And what happened is they realized there weren't enough resources in the community to support the families during the treatment. So what happened is unfortunately, Emilio passed when he was 6. So, in a way to honor him, they wanted to create a foundation, a support system for the families during treatment when their child gets diagnosed with cancer. So that's how the Emilio Nares Foundation came about. And 21 years later, we continue to serve San Diego, Orange County, Riverside County, and San Bernardino.
Right. So how did you get involved with them? Did you have a similar situation with friends of yours, or you happen to knew them before?
So it's interesting because I had heard about the foundation before. I've been in the nonprofit space for more than 16 years now. So I've heard about Emilio Nares Foundation and their work around creating access to healthcare and equitable access to healthcare. So I fell in love with the mission when I first heard of them. And being in the nonprofit sector, I wanted to explore another possibility. The mission is phenomenal. Again, we help families navigate their child's journey with cancer. That is very dear to my heart. A couple of my family members, we've lost people to cancer, and some of them are cancer survivors. This is very dear to my heart. So how can I get the organization to serve even more people in the community and access healthcare?
That's fantastic. No, go for it, Drew.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the things when I first started talking to Richard and his bride was, and they came on many, many moons ago. This show has been going on for 18 years now, but it was so interesting and it's spot on. If you don't think about this, if you're not in that space, is how many people can miss cancer treatments if they don't have the funds for transportation. Talk about that.
So that's actually Richard. He realized that, and he realized a lot of families don't have a car.
Right.
They share one car, or they don't know how to drive. There's so many different aspects, right, that we don't think about. So we have families from Fallbrook trying to come down to Rady Children's Hospital. There's not public transportation can take you 4 or 5 hours even, right? So if you miss that one treatment, it could be, the worst situation that you can think of. So Richard, he actually started with his own van driving children around to the hospital, to the home and from the hospital. So we realized, hey, there's other services that we can also provide. So we have a family resource center now inside of Rady's. We're the only nonprofit inside of Rady's that truly supports the family with anything they need. So when a child gets diagnosed, they're referred to social workers, and they support them with healthcare and some of the resources. But unfortunately, they're overwhelmed sometimes, right? They serve so many children and families. So we actually have the trust of them, and they refer them to us. So we sit down with the family one-on-one, and we say, how can we support you? Do you need financial assistance? Do you need shelter? Do you need food sometimes, right? You need to pay your rent, legal aid, whatever that looks like, mental health resources. whatever that looks like, we're going to hand hold you through the process, help you fill out forms, connect to the right nonprofits or organizations, and make sure that you're being taken care of. Not only you and your child, but the family and the siblings.
Yeah, so we've talked about transportation and, helping fill out forms and things like that. What's one of your favorite programs as part of the foundation?
So I have a couple. So that one, I think the Family Resource Center, because that's the hub. So when a family comes through us and we do an intake form, when we realize all the needs that they have, then we provide that free transportation, right? But then we also, sometimes what happens, we have another program, Emilio Snack Bags. So when a child fasts to get their chemotherapy, we then realize some of them were experiencing food insecurity. They didn't eat after the treatment for 20 to 48 hours because they didn't have access to food. So through the Emilio Snack Bags, we provide nutrient-dense food so they can immediately start feeling that nourishment and feel better. So I think that's one of the other programs that I really, really love. And then Creating for Hope. So we realize that a lot of the families, when they're inside the hospital, sometimes you can't leave the hospital for a year and a half because your child is going to treatment. And if you go outside and bring one bacteria, virus, whatever that looks like, it could be life-threatening for your child. So you have to stay inside the hospital. Imagine what happened with COVID that we couldn't get out, but at least you could walk around the park.
Wow.
You can't move away from the hospital. So we have this group where we actually do knitting and crocheting, and it works like a support group because then you create this group of other family members that are going through the same situations.
That's incredible. And there are spaces at Rady's where these families can stay and essentially live on site?
So actually there's several other organizations. For example, Ronald McDonald House of Charities is a really great partner of ours. So they provide some of the shelter. We also connect them to affordable housing. So other nonprofits like MAC or Chicano Federation. What we do is a lot of collaboration, and that's what Emilio Nares Foundation is all about, collaborating with other nonprofits that already are providing these services. What we do is kind of help them navigate. What does that look like, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we, again, the holistic approach to the whole family. Even scholarships, like we've done, some of the siblings had to drop off of a high school for a second there because, again, they were supporting their sibling, right, and their mom. So what happens there is that we actually connect them to schools that provide independent studies. So they can finish high school, and then also we connect them to other nonprofits that could provide a scholarship or connect them to higher education.
That's great. We're chatting with Elsa Morales-Roth. She is the executive director of the Emilio Nares Foundation. I'm Drew Schlosberg. Listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, broadcasting from the very cool Mission Fed studios in Scripps Ranch. Mission Fed for more than 6 decades has been doing great things for us folk living in San Diego County, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel, the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc., celebrating their 20th anniversary. So you've got a spot here in San Diego. You said Orange County too, right?
So we serve Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and South LA.
But are you at the Children's Hospital in Orange County as well, or just the Children's Hospital here?
Actually, we're in Children's Hospital, Orange County.
Fantastic.
So we have that one. We are in a virtual setting right now. We do plan to have somebody in person, but even we have families from Imperial Valley is the other county that we serve. So we serve basically all of Southern California, right, with the free transportation and resources. So if what kind of like COVID allowed us to do is understand the virtual setting, right? So we can connect over the phone or over Zoom to make sure that the families, regardless of where you are geographically, we ensure that you're getting the resources based on the county that you live in.
Yeah, we'll come back from break. I want to talk about, family reintegration after, the cancer treatments and so forth. Also talk about, where you see the Emilio Nares Foundation going from this point forward. Obviously, you guys like to expand. It serves more people and so forth in that area. And I know there's some great stories you want to talk about, some really cool things that have happened to the folks who have benefited from the foundation when we return with Elsa Morales-Roth. I'm Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media. We will return right after this break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. It's been really elevating the bar for so many of us living in San Diego County. So pleased to have in the studio Elsa Morales-Roth, the executive director of the Emilio Nares Foundation, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel, executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. Kristen.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about what family reintegration is and how the foundation helps support in those efforts.
Of course. And again, thank you, Drew, and Kathy, and thank you, Mission Federal Credit Union, for giving us this opportunity to share more. So in regards, so a lot of people don't think about like what happens after a child rings the bell.
Yeah.
So ringing the bell, you're cancer-free or you finish your treatment. So that's a great celebration, of course. But what a lot of things that people don't know about is, and I'll give you a perfect story. We had a beautiful child, Gloria. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor and when she was 8. She went through more than 80 treatments and 2-3 surgeries. It's just true. She's a warrior. I always tell her she's my superhero because she's phenomenal. So she went through this really hard treatment, but she is now cancer-free. It was phenomenal. So we did a ring the bell celebration celebrating that she completed treatment. We had the whole family there. We brought cake, something beautiful, because it is truly a milestone for her. But then when we were in the middle of the celebration, I was asking her, hey, do you want to read a little plaque, a little paragraph so you can, make your official statement that you're done? And she tells me in Spanish, I don't know how to read.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know how to write. Oh, okay. We'll help you. And then I realized and I started talking to the family and the mom specifically. Oh, yeah, we've been focused on making sure that she's surviving.
Right.
And then you start hearing the story of the uncle, how he has been such a caregiver and supporter of the family, but he actually had to sell his house to support his niece and the whole family. So he lost his house. He also stopped working because he needed, again, the mom, Gloria's mom, needed support with childcare because you have 3 other siblings, right? So this impacts the whole family. So not only that, you're going through trauma together. So what we realized is, okay, what happens post-treatment, right? We need to make sure that Gloria is set up for success. We want to ensure that they thrive after this, right? So what we did is we connected her with a couple of our partners and find a tutor so she can now start reading and writing. So I'm so happy to say that she's in the middle of that process. And then the family, we were able to connect it to financial education to ensure that they can bring back that, have economic mobility, have a better paying job, maybe go back to becoming a homeowner again. And then also ensuring the mental health, that they go through counseling together and individually to process these emotions. So that's the holistic approach that we have for the full family post-treatment.
The fact that you have so many tentacles out there here, this is literacy, one, to say the least, in that aspect of it. And what a heroic effort by the uncle for doing this. I mean, are you kidding me? And of course, and not even knowing the guy, he's going to go, that's not heroic. This is exactly what I should do, I'm sure. It's exactly what he would say, right?
He is so humble. He's just, of course, this is my family. This is my niece and my sister. It's just phenomenal. That's what I think the passion. That's why we're so passionate about the families and our mission. Our whole team is very, we become extended family for them because we understand this is one of many, many stories, right? And we want to make sure that they feel that the community is being supported, that the community is rallying behind them.
Well, and then there's no question, when these, and listen, cancer is not good for anybody of any age for that matter, but obviously hits your heartstrings a little bit more when it's a child, of course. And, I think one of the things that you guys are so good at doing, we talk about this quite a bit on our Spotlight show. It's not just that individual who has the cancer, in this case, the child. It's the family who's impacted, and the siblings and the aunts and the uncles and classmates and all that business. Talk about how you try to work with all the groups.
So in this space, once the child completes treatment, we do follow up. So we have one-on-ones with each one of the parents or the guardians, because sometimes it's the guardians taking care of the child. So what we do is, what else do you feel you need? And we have, to be honest, we have our family resource coordinator, Gabby. She is phenomenal. I'm so honored to work alongside her because she sits down and has just a very informal conversation and says, how else can we support? Just tell us. Or starts asking questions, because sometimes when you're going through this, you don't know what to ask. You don't know what you need. So between her and the drivers that provide that free transportation, they start hearing the stories post-treatment and say, hey, this person or this family might need X or might need Y, right? They might need counseling. So what we do is truly sit down with them and try to figure out and coach them. Like, what is your next step? Do you want to go back to school? Maybe not. But do you want to open your own business? We have somebody that was taking secondhand clothes, like vintage clothes, and she was selling them at the swap meet. And so she's becoming, I told her, that's entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur. You're creating. So let's make sure maybe we can get you resources so you can create your own business plan for that. So we're connecting her to other nonprofits to do that. So that's what they're thinking. Oh, there's a life after this, right? And there could be a beautiful life, and we are here to support you making your dream come true.
And what a, great business model you have that you can kind of duck and weave and get creative about those solutions. You know what I mean? So that's so great. I guess kind of speaking off of that, what sort of staff do you have and also volunteer support? I mean, is that baked in as well? Are there opportunities for people to help do the work that you do?
Thank you for asking that question. So our team is small but mighty. So as every other nonprofit in San Diego, right? So we have a phenomenal programs team. We have our director of programs, Luz Quiroga, our family resource center coordinator, Gabby, and then Margarita Nuño, who supports with transportation. And we have our lovely drivers that take the children up and down and everywhere. We have about 5 or 6 drivers, 2 in each county. And then for administrative, truly it's me and our HR and finance person. So, and that's it, and our board, right? So we're always looking for opportunities for volunteers to come in, either to support in admin or through our snack back program. So we would love to have people, if you're interested in creating these snack backs with us, right? And share and, helping us put them together and just giving them away to the children. That's one magnific opportunity, great opportunity. And then the other piece, so the drivers are paid staff because we have to be sure that they're reliable and all that. So I know there's other nonprofits that had that volunteer drivers, but we tried that. And unfortunately, sometimes life happens, right? And then people had to cancel. So we have paid drivers, but we are always looking for people that just want to be, even just sharing a note with the families, hey, we're here for you. We did one event where we were just doing that. Like, hey, can you create a note of encouragement to the families? And that completely changes the life. It makes the day for the full family.
Yeah, that's super powerful. At Writers Inc., I'm trying to get this letter writing thing started, where just once a month people can come in and write letters and things like that.
Ooh,
so
maybe we could collaborate.
We could collaborate, yeah. I just think the power of written notes to people, for 100%. Anything, it's not even to write your congressman. It's write to your neighbor, write to, someone that you don't know and offer some support.
Well, you're spot on that. A friend of mine, sort of old school. So whenever we go out and do something, go to lunch or whatever the case, writes a hand.
I love that so much.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And takes the time to write it, mail it, and all that business. And it makes a difference. And you're so spot on that, Kristen. Nothing like getting that written word.
Yeah.
And so forth on that. We're chatting with Elsa Morales-Roth. She's the executive director, the Emilio Nares Foundation. I'm Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for more than 6 decades, just doing great things in the community, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel of San Diego Writers, Inc. Got any other questions for Elsa?
Always. My mind's spinning about the letter writing thing now. Yes. I'm like, I really, really want to do that.
Kristen, you and I are on the same page. I'm like,
so when can we start that? And how many people could so I'm definitely there with you. I'll turn it to you. What else are you looking for? What else do you need? How can we support your efforts? Let us know.
Thank you for asking that, Kristen. Yeah. So truly is either if you're interested in volunteering or collaborating with us, there's so many different spaces, as I mentioned. We're always looking for volunteers also that are specialized, for example, in legal aid. So we manage a lot of cases around family law. Unfortunately, some of the families struggle a lot during the process and they separate, and then you have to have consent for treatment. So even family law or financial education, like I talking to Mission Fed, hey, can we provide it? I'm so excited. Thank you, Mission Fed. Financial education for the families, right? Some of them, we have families that have never opened up a savings or checking account, right? Mm-hmm. How can we create a business plan for them? Literacy, if you're a program with literacy that focuses around literacy, we would love that. We would love somebody that maybe, can just talk to the people that we serve and say, hey, you're not alone. Mm-hmm. To your point, even if writing a letter could be life-changing. And of course, donations to run operations, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that.
Turns lights on.
Yes, right? Mm-hmm. And we operate, again, at all of Southern California. We're a small team. So any type of donation, we're going to have an event on September 22nd, Harvest for Hope. It's a food and wine event. It's a fundraiser. We've been doing it for 21 years. Richard and Diane actually have been leading, and my partners again, which I love. Hi, Richard. We're going to have an event on September 22nd, Harvest for Hope, if you want to sponsor or join us to have a wonderful Sunday evening.
No, so what we want to do is we're going to have you folks back on to promote that event. We'll have you back on in August, a month out to it. And, without trying to break any HIPAA laws or anything like this, we always offer this. There are a lot of families that want to come in and say, listen, I benefited from the foundation doing X, Y, and Z, if that's appropriate. Would love to have someone come in and join you in August to promote the big event and to talk about how they benefited from the services.
I would love that. And I know without that impacting HIPAA laws.
Right.
We're very fortunate that a lot of the families that we serve, we still continue serving 10, 15 years later.
Wow.
We have, just very quick.
Please.
We have one of the children, which is interesting. We started serving them when they were 5 years old. And then 15, 20 years later, they got a new job, they are thriving. And we got to see them at an event recently and say, thank you so much. Like, I'm surviving here. I went through the crocheting program. I actually started my own Etsy page. It was just phenomenal. I'm like, thank you for reminding us that our work matters, right? And that you felt supported. So.
No, that's great. So we'll take a look at that as well. Why don't you shout out the website one more time?
Yes, that's ENF, E-N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, hope.org, ENFhope.org.
Elsa, it's always good seeing you. Your enthusiasm is infectious in a very good way. And we're going to look forward to having you come back on in a couple of months, chat about the big event that's happening in September, and maybe bring somebody on that's benefited from your great foundation.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Kristen. And thank you, Mission Fed, for creating this space. And we're going to work on those letters.
Yeah, I'm giving you my card. I'm mentally pulling it out of my pocket right now.
No, that's all good. All right, you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.